I think not only will we inspire the next generation of coaches, we will open the door for them. That's the most important thing. Around 24 years of age, I got the opportunity to captain coach by default. That was something that had always interested me, coaching, but after the first season, the challenge to be a coach for me mentally was completely different. I'm fortunate enough to have grown up around rugby league, and my father was before his time. I remember as a 10, 11, 12-year-old, he used to run a coaching clinic in the University of Newcastle for 100 Aboriginal kids, where he'd bring them in from across New South Wales, and they'd have elite players there that would come and spend the week with those kids and develop their game. To spend my time around all that has really shaped me as a person, but also really shaped my coaching career. I listened to stories of Dad and when he was growing up about the job that his mother and my grandmother, did to keep him away from the welfare of being taken away. I'm one generation from possibly my father being a statistic in the stolen generation. I still remember as a kid, we'd go places on holidays and my mum wasn't Aboriginal, so she'd have to go into the motel and pay for the room for fear of rejection and different things like that. Then I think about the people that were running the game at that point in time. Their learned behaviours would have been stereotyped about what Aboriginal people were like. Good athletes, probably no good off the park. So those sort of things, I believe, influence this point in time why the staff are limited in the game. For a long time at the Tigers, I was the only Aboriginal assistant coach in the game. It's a sad indictment that we don't have more than myself and Dean Witters and Jamie Soward, obviously. I'm sure when you look at all the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander coaches that are in the game at the moment, they're not there for themselves. They're there to create a pathway for the next generation. We need to be on the ground making change out there. What are we as an organisation, the NRL, and what are our clubs doing out in community? That's the most important thing. Driving educational outcomes or driving health and wellbeing outcomes, I think that's a responsibility of the game to go and do that. We look at suicide rates at the moment for Aboriginal kids, they're the highest of all races. So, we need to work out how we're going to target those sort of things and fix those, because not everyone's going to be a rugby league player. For me, it was an inherent trait that I'd learned off my dad that, it's not about teaching them to be rugby league players. It's about giving people tools to be better people. I think that's extremely important. Rugby league can be the conduit to solve a lot of issues, or at least bring to the surface and highlight a lot of issues within Aboriginal community in particular, and how we can address the social disadvantage. So it's taken many different forms for me, rugby league, but each one of them has always been a positive, and it's a great game.